that takes the act of writing, which can sometimes be not so easy, and tries to make it a little so easy. I'm one of your hosts, Mary Mascari.
And I'm your other host, Melissa Long.
So just a little peek behind the curtain here. Our topic for this week was going to be encouraging stuff. We're going to try to encourage each other, trying to encourage our listeners, especially for the people in NaNoWriMo, just kind of, let's give you some happy talk. And I was doing that. I was assembling a whole bunch of quotes and stuff. And then I started going through this book that I had gotten, but hadn't gotten to read, really into reading yet. And then I stopped taking notes anywhere else and just read that book like crazy because it's fantastic. So what I want to do is kind of talk about some of the things in this book. See, Melissa, see if they resonate with you as much as they resonate with me.
Yay, I'm excited because I need all the help I can get. So
holy cow. Okay, so the book is called The 7 Secrets of the Prolific: The Definitive Guide to Overcoming Procrastination, Perfectionism, and Writer's Block. And it is by Hilary Rettig, Rettig. I first started reading this thinking it's going to be about, writer's block. But it wasn't, because her basic thesis statement is that writer's block is procrastination. Mm-hmm. And procrastination comes from perfectionism, which is a self-defense mechanism against fear of failure.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. And one of the things she says here, and I'm going to quote it, one of the most important productivity techniques you can use, so important that I will be repeating it throughout this book, is to, and she put this in bold, never apply labels such as lazy to yourself or anyone else. What?
I love her already.
I know. I go, yeah, but of course I do. Characteristics of perfectionism. See if anything rings a bell here, Melissa. They hold unrealistic definitions of success and punish themselves harshly for perceived failures. They are grandiose. By that, she means like, kind of like dream big, but maybe to the point of unrealistic. They prioritize product over process. They over-rely on external rewards and measures of success. They deprecate the ordinary processes of creativity and career building. And they over-identify with their work. Oh my God.
Yeah. So
why
familiar.
Was she watching me?
I'm feeling called out.
Yeah.
I feel seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I've actually never considered myself to be blocked, but I definitely procrastinate a lot. And I never thought of myself as a perfectionist, but I do beat myself up a lot. And so, especially when it comes to writing and productivity, I do exactly what she says. I start to write, I hit a little barrier, and then I procrastinate, and then I get mad at myself, which makes the act of writing become a big exercise in self-hatred, and strangely enough, not excited about doing it.
It's interesting because I feel like my process is not, I don't hit a lot of writer's block, but I do have that perfectionistic streak, and I find that because I'm a brainstormer and I live in my head and I have this perfect manifesto, this perfect sprawling story in my head and vision of what I want, that the first draft can be really hard for me because it's crappy. It's like a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
And when I start writing and I see it on paper and I'm like, oh my God, this does not look anything like what I expect or want it to look. That's when I start applying that. It's no good. I'm no good. I should be able to get these ideas on paper better. And then I start to procrastinate because it just feels like a slog, and I get depressed every time I look at the page and I'm like, this is not what it's supposed to be. I should just stop. And then that's when I hit the procrastination because I'm already thinking this is going to be a failure. I'm a failure. I can't write this. And then I start avoiding it.
Yep. And that's all the stuff she's talking about is this either or thinking, this rigidity of, you got to do it. You got to push through this labeling, calling yourselves names or defining what your work is or isn't. I'm like, oh my God, this is good. This isn't good. This is what it's supposed to be. What it's not supposed to be. Yeah. And she's like, no, get rid of all that bullshit. that's not going to help you. Like, and then she also calls out all this this is the grandiosity. She kind of calls out this sort of fetishism of art as pain, and you gotta work so hard, all that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So she mentioned, okay, so Red Smith's famous bon mot about how to write: you need only to sit down at a typewriter and open a vein. And Jean Fowler's similarly sanguinary advice to sit staring at a blank sheet of paper until the drops of blood form on your forehead, and she says, are nothing but macho, grandiose posturing.
I agree. Totally. 100%.
I love that.
I love that. I love that she says that.
Yeah, it's selfish and ridiculous, and many of the most famous quotes about writing are grandiose. And it's because that's more interesting, right? But she says that for most writers, a strategy based on pain and deprivation is not a route to productivity. In fact, it is more likely a route to a block. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just, that was a big eye opener for me. Because I get mad at myself, right? I'm like, come on, get in there, And like I said it before, like I try to apply sports metaphors to writing, and that's not how it works. And so this book has been really helpful. So what she says instead of all this nonsense, she suggests a thing called conscientious objectivity, which is basically this sort of wisdom, this sort of little guru in your head who is, aware but gentle and kind. It doesn't lie to you, doesn't say, yeah, no, this is fantastic, doesn't blow sunshine up your butt, but also doesn't beat you up when when it's not exactly right, And I'm trying to pull up the book, and now my Kindle's decided to blow up on me, so that's exciting.
I do think this idea of focusing on mindset and shifting your perspective is critical, right? Because I do think and I've said this before, I think we create some of our own reality, right? And the stories that we tell ourselves are the ones that become true. And so if we tell ourselves this has to be a painful process, if we tell ourselves we're no good, if we tell ourselves we're lazy, then we start to, our body starts to respond to that, and it starts to become our reality, even if it's not true. Yes. And you could be the most prolific person in the world and still beat yourself up and tell yourself you're not writing enough, or your writing is not good enough, or whatever. You can create that reality, but you can also break it. That's what's so freeing. You can also do the opposite and create these positive experiences with writing and help yourself enjoy the process instead of focusing on how somebody's going to respond when they see a draft or the final product.
Yeah. The voice of perfectionism is always wrong, and you should never listen to it. Never. Yeah. Yeah, and so we can reframe ourselves, and I'm trying to find the place now. Come on, you. Okay, this is nice. We'll listen for a little while Mary tries to figure out how to use her Kindle, because I want to get to this part, and now I can't. Mindset of compassionate objectivity, which is not what I said before. What did I say before?
You said that's what you said. I think. I don't know.
I?
We'll know.
Okay. Yeah. Those of you listening are paying attention. So one of the things that she says to do is abundant rewards and no punishments. None. No punishments ever. So have you ever, I know you have a dog. You ever tried to train your dog?
Oh, a billion times.
Right. And so the whole point is you give them a treat when they do the thing you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea, right? So if they go in the direction you want, you give them a treat. Yes. And if they don't do it, you just ignore it. So you do the same thing to yourself. So no matter if you do any sort of writing, anything, you reward yourself. And just yes, good job. And it can be a physical reward. It can be, concrete reward, but it's also, she wants you to sit and enjoy that feeling of writing, of having written and accomplishment, and, shut up the voice that says, it was only 200 words. It's nothing. We wrote, and enjoy that. And the more you do that, that's going to, like you said, that's going to cultivate that feeling, change your brain so that you are enjoying writing again, and because it's not your whole being at stake. It's just a thing you do, and it's fun.
Yeah, now how does that apply though when like, I think if I'm doing personal writing or if I'm working on my own project where I don't have a timeline or a deadline or, some kind of external driving force, then like this works. I think where I often run into procrastination when I'm doing a project for someone else, when I'm getting paid to do something and I have a deadline and now suddenly there's more pressure and that perfectionist like comes out because you want to deliver for your client or for whoever is going to ultimately have the product. And so like, I think I love the idea of like, oh, you could reward yourself for a little progress. I often do that, but then I'll be like, oh, I wrote, for 30 minutes, yay me. But it's like, you have a deadline, like, and it's a week away. So that 30 minutes is great, but like, you also have to keep going or we are never going to hit that deadline. And that also can be like, I'm trying to figure out how do you balance that with external factors that you can't control.
She actually covers that exactly, that there's this idea that rewarding yourself is somehow settling or somehow letting yourself off the hook. That you would reward yourself, that means you're not going to do anything else. You're done. You've gotten all soft and lazy, right? Because you're not being tough on yourself. But she's like, no, you are positive. You celebrate what you did. And if you need to write more, well, then you write some more, but she's advocates for timed writing sessions, which I find it was very productive for me. But so it's like, here's my writing session. I finished my writing session. I did what I said I was going to do, and I celebrate. And then, okay, maybe you need another one. Well, then you set up another one, but you celebrate. You can celebrate and still continue to do. It's not like you're going to celebrate and that's going to stop you in any way.
Yeah.
Which is, I was the same thing. I'm like, I can't reward myself, then I'm letting myself off easy. Then I'm settling. But she's like, no, absolutely not, because what you're doing is you're kind of cultivating this idea of this feeling of empowerment and shutting out the feeling of disempowerment and perfectionism that thinks it's helping, and it absolutely is not.
She's so smart.
I know, this is so good. I have to, this is one of those books that I'm reading slowly and taking notes on because I love it so much. But it's that she's called it CO, conscientious objectivity. Compassionate. I know, that's what it is. I kept saying conscientious, but it's not conscientious. It's compassionate. Compassionate objectivity. Compassionate makes much more sense than conscientious. Yes. She says CO throughout the thing, and I always forget what the C stands for. So yeah, you want carbon monoxide. Wait, no, that's not right. Yeah, so, and she's like, if you're really stuck, really stuck, you can practice this on things other than writing when the stakes aren't so high, and then you get better at it. I mean, this is she kind of comes to this from a point of people who are absolutely blocked, like haven't written a thing.
Yeah.
But I think it still applies to people who, yeah, I know I do. I mean, I get there and I get writing, but I never lock in because I'm, too busy questioning myself and stuff. And this book is helping me reframe that. And like, I'm going back to my childhood and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, now I understand this. It's like therapy.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's what's so powerful, especially in like Western civilization and culture, like the work ethic and the perfectionism is just rooted in how so many of us are brought up and raised. And, we're even in school, like you're judged on like how well you do an assignment and you want that A.
Yeah.
And so you apply all of these ingrained concepts and principles to your everyday life as an adult. And sometimes they don't make sense. And this is one of those things where, judging yourself on an A or trying to get perfectionism, trying to find the right process and follow all the rules, it doesn't work for art and writing and creativity and something where you have multiple drafts and it takes months or even years to finish a project. So it is a challenge. It is something that constantly has to be, I think, worked on and tended to. And then, you can't stop practicing these behaviors because like the moment you stop, that's when they creep back up and suddenly you're back in the same place again.
Yeah, I think our whole lives we're not taught how to be artists. We're taught how to be, I don't know, soldiers almost, I guess. I don't know. But it's that no pain, no gain sort of thing, which, I mean, yeah, if you're working out to a certain extent, that's helpful. Although you can also hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But but it's like those are the stories that our culture teaches us are important, right? You gotta make sacrifice, and you do, but you can't. I don't know. I like to think more of like myself as sort of a kung fu master rather than a Rambo, or something.
Yeah.
Just like we're gonna be totally zen. We're gonna be a kung fu master. We're not gonna get all worked up, but we're gonna do our thing, and we're gonna leave. I'm not sure if that really holds up, but
well, yeah, it's like it's not brute force that gets. It's being strategic and purposeful and intentional in how we go about the process.
Yeah, and you have to be kind to yourself. You have to take care of your mind, right? Because that's your main muscle, is your mind and your heart and your soul. And if you injure them in the process of writing, you won't be able to do it. Like if you had you take care of your equipment, if you're in sports or something like that, right? Or like you ride a horse, you take good care of your horse. You take good care of your equipment, because if it breaks, you've got nothing. And as writers, some of the things that we need to use is our psyche, and so we have to take care of that. We have to learn about it. We have to maintain it, and books like this really illustrate how much writing is therapy, and how much the things that we bring into our lives also show up on the page, and they're really a good way of kind of coming face to face with them, which is probably why I really love writing, because that's why it makes it so interesting.
Never dull.
So as usual, we end up finishing our podcast by recommending to our listeners all to go to therapy.
Yeah, it should just be standard. We should just assume we're going to say that in every episode.
Honestly, everybody needs it. It's not a bad idea. Everyone should go to therapy.
Maybe we can get a sponsorship.
Yes.
Sponsor anybody.
Yeah. Talkspace or BetterHelp or those places. Maybe they can sponsor it. Yeah. So, wow. So when this episode comes out, it's going to come out on Friday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, tomorrow is when we're doing our live stream. Yeah. Melissa, you know where we're putting this. I don't remember. Where is it going to be?
It'll be on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. Okay, cool. Which has all of our podcasts.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can go to our YouTube channel, and it's going to start at, I believe, 3 o'clock Central, which is noon Pacific.
1 Pacific.
Right? 1 Pacific.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
1 Pacific.
You're over there. 1 Pacific, 3 Central, 4 Eastern, 2 Mountain.
I love that we did that out of order.
Yeah, totally. And if you're in like Europe, I have no idea. I can't help you. But yeah, we're going to do a live stream, and we're going to talk about writing and maybe do some sprints and some exercises. And it's going to be fun because we're all in the middle of NaNoWriMo. We're all working, and we want to try to do something a little more interactive. So come join us on our YouTube channel. How's Nano going for you?
I'm almost halfway there.
Nice.
We'll see. No, I'm not. No, I take that back.
Oh.
I can't math. I'm not halfway there. Okay. Maybe a quarter there.
You don't need to math. Okay, well, whatever.
I got words.
No punishments. Celebrate. Yep, no punishment.
I got words.
Excellent. Well, we hope to see you all on Saturday. And I guess we'll just leave you with this, that remember that writing is hard.
So take it easy.
I'm Mary.
And I'm Melissa.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.